Hello, and welcome to the Quantum Fit podcast. I'm Taylor, and I am your host. This podcast is all about applying the different principles of quantum physics and quantum biology to your health and fitness. This gives us a holistic view of how different environmental factors, such as sunlight or cold, play a major role in your overall health. So I won't just be talking about diet or exercise and developing good habits. If you want to really make lasting changes in how you feel, think, and act, then I'd recommend you try to listen closely and have an open mind to what I have to say. Every day I'll be hitting you with a quick 7 to 15 minute long podcast. I keep it short like this because it makes it both informative and to the point so that you don't feel quite so overwhelmed with information. Also, currently I do not do any kind of advertisements. So instead, I ask that you share this podcast with a friend or family member if you enjoyed the message and gained something from it. I want to be able to spread quality and easy to understand content that everyone can take and use in their own daily lives. I would highly appreciate it. On to today's episode, how to really avoid sunburn. This episode was inspired by a conversation I had with Zoe the other day about reactions from the sun. I believe we were mostly talking about rashes and other weird stuff that can happen, and as far as I know, what I'll be talking about that, for helping with sunburns, it also helps with any other kind of issues that can happen from sun exposure like rashes. The bottom line is that sunburn happens when you're getting excess UV and infrared light absorption and you're not able to handle it. And then you get both biochemical and quantum problems as a result. First of all, UV and blue light cause damage to cells, even though they also heal us when absorbed from sunlight and we're getting them at the right times. It's actually a part of how it heals us. UV light generates free radicals that are beneficial in the mitochondria. It acts as a positive signal. I'll get into that in a later episode. But it's only beneficial, if you're able to handle all those free radicals from UV light. Now, for ongoing listeners, can you guess what helps you to do that before I tell you? Yeah, think EZ. The red light the red through deep infrared range of light is what counterbalances this damage. More structured water in the body acts as like a net. It catches, so to speak, the UV light so that you can utilize it. The structured water, of course, also builds voltage in cells and allows them to handle greater amounts of damage. So, there's a few reasons why the structured water helps protect you from the UV damage. Now, the body can only absorb so much red and infrared light at a time. This is why red light devices are only meant to be used for a certain length of time, generally topping off at, 10 minutes per side of the body, assuming you're really close to it, of course. If you're a distance away, you could have it going all day. Who cares? It's not really going to interfere with your sleep or anything, and as long as you're not close to it, you're not soaking in so much. But if you disregard that warning and you just keep sitting there and sitting there and sitting there right next to it, you're going to eventually feel a burning sensation. Your skin will be flush red. You're getting, that's an obvious signal that you're getting damage that's akin to a sunburn. Red light can heal, but too much can actually begin causing stress in the cells. Again, it depends on the intensity, but the sun beating down on you all day, that's definitely going to cause some issues if you're not able to handle it, especially if, you're white like me living in Minnesota and then you were to go down to the equator in the middle of winter. I would probably get destroyed by the sun within just, 20 minutes. between the UV and the infrared light. So and then there's also a reason that, all animals have a mechanism to escape from the sun now and then, whether it's just running from it and going under a tree or just burrowing in the ground. I mean, even cold-blooded reptiles, they'll only take in so much of the sun before hiding under a rock or heading for water. So, you can only have so much. And again, the point is that when you're too much of the light can be a problem, but as you build more and more structured water in your body from continually exposing yourself to the sun, like the way you're supposed to do it naturally is, as winter is ending, spring is coming on, there's very little UV light, and the sun isn't up as long. So if you were naked and outside all year, you would slowly be building up resistance to the sun. Your body would be adapting to the light over time as summer approaches. You would be, you would have a lot more EZ water in your body. You would be building it over time so that you have lots of EZ once summer comes. Lots of EZ allows you to not only absorb and deal with UV light better, but you're going to be able to deal with getting more infrared light better as well. Because again, your cells will be healthier, they can take in more damage, more, whatever. So you can withstand standing in even, infrared light longer. Now, of course, there's also the biochemical aspect to cover as well. But, a lot of you probably already, get the basics of it. So I won't cover it too much. But, you build up a literal solar callus on your skin. And we see this as the skin darkening and beginning to have greater and greater amounts of melanin. Now, a fun fact that I'm guessing not a lot of you probably know, but melanin is a extremely efficient semiconductor. It's able to directly use photons. Okay, so once the photons come in, it'll actually be able to absorb them. And it's able to create chemical energy in your cells to power the Krebs cycle, Krebs, Krebs cycle in mitochondria. That's one of the, that cycle deals with energy generation. So melanin, getting more and more as you're in the sun, it's basically an adaptation that not only helps protect you from the sun, but it actually allows you to better utilize light from the sun. Now, moving away from just purely light, there's food choices that you can make that'll also help prevent and deal with sunburns. I'm going to be just talking about the two of the biggest factors. I would consider the biggest factors. I'll need to further investigate if there are other reasons why, but I know that excess consumption of omega-6 fats is a big instigator of sunburn as well because of inflammation. And the reason I say I need to further investigate is I'm guessing that omega-6 also, because I know they'll deal with the fluidity of the cell membrane and the structure of your cells. So I'm wondering if excess omega-6 fats maybe cause really bad structural changes that make it so you can't absorb light as well. Again, I'm going to have to do some more research on it, see if there's anything that's actually there. Anyways, I'd say that, too much omega-6 fats is easily the second biggest reason that people in first world countries tend to burn so damn easily. Besides the fact they're indoors 24/7. Most people eat so many omega-6 fats, it's mind-boggling. Especially when they come in the form of fried foods where the fats have been, beyond denatured. They're just completely wrecked. And these omega-6 fatty acids have been shown to directly upregulate pathways involving inflammation. You're going to get lots of inflammation if you keep eating that crap. To counter this, you need to eat the way I always am saying on this podcast. Lots of seafood, lots of meat, and whatever other animal products you want to have, whether it's butter, or if you can handle like, other like actual dairy, eggs, whatever. Not everybody can have it, so that's why I always say seafood and meat first. You'll get plenty of omega-3s, and you'll cut down on the omega-6s and the sunburning. Now, seafood that is red, think salmon and crustacean shells when you cook them. They have an antioxidant in them called astaxanthin. It is a carotenoid, which, carotenoids are all red colored. That's what gives salmon the red color, or the pink. Red if it's like a sockeye salmon, it's loaded with astaxanthin. It has actually a lot more. Some kinds have like up to, I think, I could be wrong, but I think like 5 to 6 times as much as other kinds of salmon. So it's really good to be picky about your salmon. Anyways, astaxanthin is one of the most potent antioxidants in the world. It's the only one that is able to actually trap free radicals and convert them into harmless forms. It's kind of cool. Part of this is just because of the structure. I won't go too in depth on it, but if you know how the cell membrane is, it's the phospholipid bilayer, so you got the 2 layers that make up the membrane. Anyways, astaxanthin actually sits on the outside. So it can either sit on the outside and it'll squeeze. So like it'll be, one end will be on the outside of the cell and one end will be in the middle of the membrane. So because it's able to basically just sit right inside there, it's actually able to, grab free radicals and basically just rip them right out of the cell and deal with them. And that's part of the reason it's such an amazing antioxidant. Very interestingly, astaxanthin also has the ability to increase mitochondrial oxygen consumption without generating any extra reactive oxygen species, aka, free radicals, aka bad stuff. And, anytime you're increasing oxygen consumption in the mitochondria, that means you're generating more energy. So this means that astaxanthin both reduces damage done to cells and increases mitochondrial efficiency and power output. Also, since talking about sunburning, there have been specific studies done showing that astaxanthin is extremely good at preventing sunburns. As far as I know, it's one of the only supplements, besides taking like fish oil, like a high quality fish oil, something like that. Astaxanthin is the best supplement out there for helping with sunburns. Boom. All right. Any questions, comments? Find me on Instagram at RealQuantumFit. You can also find me on my personal Facebook page, Taylor Kelson. Or if you're listening to me on the Anchor app, you could send me a voice message across it. All right. See you guys.